Hi everybody, my name is Ruth Ann Lane and hopefully you can hear me better this time and see me a little bit better. I switched to my phone. So today I'm going to be talking to you about 7 tips and tricks for summer project-based learning and how to plan for that. If you wouldn't mind going ahead and, oh yay, you can hear me better. Oh good, I'm so glad. Okay. So I want to tell you a little bit about myself first and why I'm doing this video. Again, my name is Ruth Ann Lane and I have 8 years of teaching experience, 6 of which are at a project-based learning school. I've been very blessed in my career to have taught at schools where I get to integrate a lot. Oh good, thanks Sherry, I'm glad it's much better. In terms of integration, before I taught at a project-based learning school, I spent 2 years at a school where we integrated the fine arts. And then before that, I did my student teaching on a military base in Germany. And I got to do a lot of integrating for different cultures and things, and that, so it was really cool. But PBL, it really speaks to my heart because it's a lot of integration. So today we're going to be talking about 7 tips and tricks for planning your projects during the summer. And at the end of that, I'm going to do a Q&A session. And when I do the Q&A session, then I'll go ahead and make that teaching planner live for free for you. And we can go ahead and we can talk about that in a little bit during the Q&A session. But first, let's go ahead and we'll dive into that content together. If you tuned in for the first try, I appreciate your patience as you bear with me. This is my first Facebook Live video and I had some network connections, but I'm using my phone now, so I think it'll be a lot better. Let's go ahead and talk about planning. It's one of my favorite things to do. So let's talk about those 7 tips and tricks. The first one that I have to share with you today is to take your time, but plan shorthand. So what do I mean by that? First, when you are planning a PBL, it's really important to kind of sit with those standards a little bit. When your students give you a topic like they want to do endangered animals, sometimes it takes a little while to think of how your measurement standard is gonna go with that endangered animal project. So just make sure that you kind of sit for a minute with it. It takes a longer time, especially in the beginning of your PBL career, to plan. So you just kind of want to allot that time to yourself and gift that to yourself. But also, in terms of gifting things to yourself for planning, you don't want to make a super long lesson unless you absolutely have to. Because what might happen is the day before you're going to do that lesson, little Bobby comes up to you and says, hey, we are really passionate about sea turtles as an endangered animal, and you had a lesson all about whales. So you want to make sure that you leave room for that student voice and choice, which brings me to number 2. Your student input. How do you do that in the summer? That is the most difficult part of summer planning, because as PBL teachers, we want that authenticity. We want it to be relevant to those kids, but how do you do that when you don't have your kids in front of you? So one thing I want you to kind of keep in the back of your mind if you are new to PBL is that next year, be thinking about at the end of this academic year, you want to try to meet with your kiddos if possible. You know, meet with your administrator and say, hey, could I get my kids for just a little bit if you already have my list? If not, could I maybe send home this survey in the report card envelope, or send home a link with all of the kids so that then I kind of know what it is that they're into and I can be thinking about that over the summer. Just something to kind of think about for next year. But for this year, I know a lot of teachers send out postcards and letters. My recommendation would be to do that and to send like a link for something like Facebook or Class Dojo or Class Tag. Get them on a way that you can send a link for a survey. I like Google Forms. If you use a different survey website and you would like to share that with us, we would love that. So feel free to put it in the comments because I know that there are a million really great resources out there. But once you get your list, communicate with your family some kind of a link and ask your kiddos to let you know what it is that they're they're into. Are they into pets? Are they into endangered animals? And then you can kind of be thinking about how you want to do that project. That brings me to number 3. Beware of overstructuring. What do I mean by overstructuring? So if you know me, you know in terms of people, I'm kind of like a Leslie Knope. She's my spirit animal. So overstructuring is kind of what I do. That being said, and as PBL teacher, if you overstructure, then you're kind of taking that flexibility away from the kids, and then they're not able to really guide your project. When planning with the kids, let them guide you. That means that if you're going to download a project from the internet somewhere, that really you need to go through the whole project and be thinking, where can my kids give me advice on how to move forward? Where can they take this project? Because I know that it's easier to download a project from the internet, but honestly, we take away that student voice and choice when we do something like that. So we want to make sure that we're giving plenty of opportunities. That being said, I have bought some projects on Teachers Pay Teachers and then just kind of pulled them apart for the pieces, because there are some great resources on there. Okay, that brings me to my next one. Don't try to fit in all your standards. What do I mean by that? So when you're sitting in your planning your very first PBL for the year, some of you are new to PBL, and so you might be thinking, I have to fit it all in. I have to make it all work. But I'm going to tell you right now, having taught 5th grade in PBL and 1st grade in PBL, there are standards that just are not going to fit. For example, if you are doing a project over endangered animals, you're not going to be able to fit in the American Revolution. It just isn't going to happen. You still need to teach the American Revolution though. So just be aware that sometimes they're not going to fit, and let the kids know that too. You know, this station over here today isn't going to go with our project, guys, but it's really important that we're learning it, and it's still going to be fun stuff. If you're a primary teacher, it's really hard to fit those foundational skills into your project. If you are studying endangered animals, and you want to study the word bat, that's one lesson, but if your project goes the whole semester, you can't study the word bat for the whole semester. So just be keeping that in mind, and it's okay if not everything fits. Moving on to the next one, I would say find a PBL planner you love and use it. To keep track of things, it's really important year to year, because what happens is your kids may have similar interests. So obviously you're not going to do the same project, but if your kids this year like pets and your kids last year liked pets, then some of those same articles and resources that you used, you can still use. So make sure that you're using some kind of a planner. I am going to include a bunch of free links for planners. There's going to be a link in there for mine too, but there are tons of great planners on the internet. And feel free to use it. If you use a planner and I do not include that link, please share with us. Put it in the comments. In fact, if you want to do that right now, go ahead. I know that there are some great ones out there. And if you're watching the rebroadcast, please share with us. We want your planners. So my next step is also to develop a great toolkit. If you're new to teaching or you're new to PBL, you may not know what a toolkit is. As teachers, we keep track of our resources, and maybe you keep track of your resources mentally, maybe you keep track of them on a document on Google, maybe you keep them in binders like me. Keeping track of your toolkit is the best way to help you as a PBL teacher, because the truth is PBL requires more planning than regular teaching. And I can say that because I've done traditional teaching. It takes a lot of planning to be a PBL teacher. And when you're doing that, you don't want to have to double plan for something that you've already done. Let me show you an example. So this is a binder. oh my gosh, it's really heavy, that I used in an animal project when I taught 5th grade. And inside of it, I put copies of all of the activities that we did, including PowerPoint slides and different experiments that we did. And this is from 4 years ago. And I used it again when I taught 1st grade, and I didn't use all of the resources because 5th grade, 1st grade, but there were still some things in here that I didn't have to go hunting for. So save yourself that time. Make sure that you're keeping track as you're planning this summer, so that you don't have to go back and re-hunt for things later. My last piece of advice, and I think that this is so important, is to collaborate and listen. So as teachers, and PBL teachers especially, you know, PBL teachers tend to be those trailblazing teachers. We work so hard, just like every other teacher, but we really are passionate about what it is that we're teaching, and we get so excited with the kids, and it's so easy for us to get tunnel vision that when people give us a resource, sometimes we think, oh no, my resource is better, and we don't really listen to what it is they're saying. If somebody has given you a resource, try it out. Ask for help too. That's one thing that we really struggle with, is to ask for help. Go to your teachers, say, hey, I'm really struggling to find a community partner that's going to help me with this project. Do you know anybody? Because more than likely your staff will know a lot of people. And sometimes that's really helpful. It's kind of like networking in your own building, right? So that, I think, is pretty much all that I have on those 7 tips and tricks. I am going to go ahead and make that planner free for you. Right now it's not free if you're trying to click on the link. So let me put those links in the comments for you. And I would really love any feedback that you have on it. If there's something that you would like as you're going through that you wish were in it, please let me know, because I would really like to have a planner available for people that is, you know, a good planner. If you have questions or comments that you'd like to make about summer planning, please feel free to put it in the comments below, and we can do a Q&A session now while we are here. Okay, I am putting that in now. So here are all the links to the planners. There are 4 of them. One from PBL Works, one from Magnify Learning, which is where I have my project-based learning license from, and one that I found from the BIE, and then mine. There we go. I just posted it on the page. So, okay. All right, well, it looks like we don't have any questions. So with that in mind, I'm gonna go ahead and jump off of here. If there's something that you would like to see a Facebook Live about, something that you'd like to learn more about, and that you would like for me to talk with you about, please feel free. I think that I'm going to be doing this a lot more frequently with my phone, so that this doesn't happen again where we lose the video. All right, thanks guys. If you're watching the rebroadcast, please feel free to leave tips or questions and answers for us, because we would love to hear your thoughts. Thank you. Bye.